me watching AR and he's like, yo, skinny me. He's like, I love skinny me music because when he did it, he threw it. Like, remember that one of those things? You're like, damn, this is the biggest self snitching ever. Well, this blows us out of the water. Keefe D was taking payment from anybody who would interview him or put a mic in front of his face, and he was willingly telling on himself.
Yeah, man, go look up my petition for freedom on change.org.
And this is where it also gets, this story gets very deep, right? It gets super deep. I'm trying to explain this, but I'm gonna have videos to support everything I'm saying. What ended up happening is that supposedly Baby Lane, which is Orlando Anderson, he gets killed. So the guy who killed Tupac gets killed. Allegedly, he gets killed in another incident where he pulled up on somebody, kind of the same situation as the Pac thing, but he pulled up on another nigga for him either robbing one of his men, something like that, and supposedly him and the other dude shoot each other, kill each other, right? So he dies, the other two people die, and there's only one person alive, right? Regardless, the reason why it's interesting and the reason why it kind of leads to so many theories is that, and the reason why this guy was running his mouth was because, Keefe D, and again, I'm going to have videos to support everything I'm saying. I'm just trying to give you a summary. Keefe D caught a charge. He got caught up on some charges in LA. Okay? And when he got caught up on some charges, basically, to try to lessen those charges, he took a proffer session and also allegedly was possibly down to cooperate with the government. There's a lot of theories that goes with this. Again, I'm going to play a lot of shit that hopefully I will sequentially make this make sense. But apparently he was down to wear a wire and like, okay, let me just get into it actually. Let's get into it. So basically, I guess in a summary form, Keefe D took a proffer. Now, I'm like a ghetto lawyer, right? So there's a bunch of different things that exist in the legal system that could protect you later on if you do get hemmed up, right? And by the way, there's a lot of ways that people usually use the law to get out of other situations they have. Apparently, Keefe D caused some charges in LA. He basically does a proffer to help the police solve other crimes. So a proffer usually is a session where you and the police, or the police and the DA, or the investigators and the DA, y'all sit down and usually you're giving up information to a specific crime that usually you aren't the target for, right? If you're doing a proffer, usually you're not the main person they want in that particular crime, but you may know certain shit that could help and aid the investigation. Now, that proffer session, they usually call it Queen for a Day, because usually whatever you say in that proffer session will not be used. Even if you say, I did get that gun out, they won't use any of your statements against you. Okay? By the way, this is a written, signed document. You probably won't find a proffer in open court or even public available documents. So if you think like a civilian, you could see records, but that's usually not filed. It's usually sealed or some shit. Anyway, here's the point. Remember, he's the last dude that was in the car. He basically gets hemmed up on other charges. They say, hey, listen, man, we kind of know that, you were in this car, blah, blah, for the Tupac thing. We're not really looking at that. We want to get these other guys, blah, blah, blah. He basically admits to the whole, like, his part in the Tupac murder. And I think he thought that meant immunity. Now, the difference between a proffer and immunity is that if you sign an immunity deal, like people thought that Kelsey signed in the Tory Lanez case, an immunity deal means that you can never be charged on those charges for that said crime. Okay? Ever again. Even if there's more evidence that comes out, they can't hit you with that charge. They rarely give that out, but sometimes they'll give it out to usually cooperatives that's really extended themselves. But regardless, this guy didn't get an immunity deal, right? He got a proffer agreement, which means for one day, for that one session, and actually it could last more than one day. For that one session, whatever he told the police, which was going to help them solve some other crimes, could not be used to prosecute him. Right? Okay, so that's where there's an audio tape, and you're going to hear later. There's an audio tape of this guy actually admitting to what went on. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I was in a car. Like, he pretty much admits to an officer his role in the murder of Tupac. Now, here is why, and this is how it gets interesting. And by the way, there's a huge conspiracy with this. Okay. The U.S. attorney comes in, so like the FBI comes in. So, you know, that was an LA case, that would be held and been investigated by LAPD, but then the feds come in. Tupac's a big superstar, right? They're trying to figure out where the webs might connect. By the way, also, you gotta remember, East Coast, West Coast, all that type of stuff. They get to talk to this guy who leads them down a rabbit hole, and they actually lead him to basically give up the people who are associated, who may have taken steps to have Pac killed and do some other crimes. So, for example, the person who gave him the gun. Okay, so you're gonna hear certain names come up, and I don't know if they're gonna properly identify these people. I'm hoping to give you the identity of them now, that this is gonna make sense, because if obviously I know a lot of y'all watch this whole shit, so like you probably already know all the characters. Some of y'all might not. Okay. So, as the story goes, apparently he got a gun from a guy named Von Zip, okay, or something like that, right? That guy allegedly was the person who was almost like a middleman, right, of sorts, between these guys and other people who wanted Pac dead. Okay, that's where the bounty comes in. And I think when the feds came in, they were probably looking at a lot of conspiracy charges they could have got. Again, the unfortunate part about it is that everybody's dead. So, like, everybody's dead. I mean, the only person alive is this guy, and I'll, for right now, say a name not to be mentioned, that's right now disconnected from this whole situation. Okay? So, let me try to break this down. I'm going to have to do it with interviews and all of this shit. Okay, I know I'm confusing somebody. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to make this very simple for y'all, right?
Yeah, once again, Baby Lane, Orlando Anderson.
Tupac is raising hell. He's beefing with niggas. He's violating people.
Keefe D's nephew.
It's an East Coast, West Coast thing that's brewing. Okay?
He's
constantly dissing the East Coast.
Allegedly,
got
in the car.
Maybe.
With Keefe D.
I don't know. Somebody on the East
Coast from the other dude.
Puts up
and
fired
some.
Maybe $1 million.
Tupac in the car hit him and shit.
That number is floating. That number gets
Keefe D went on Vlad TV and other platforms, and he had a profit deal making confession to Tupac.
Like Keefe D,
his nephew, Orlando Anderson, Baby Lane, was the one who fired and
now,
made him his demise.
This is like the big irony. It's either irony or it's a whole conspiracy and plot.
What they say?
Tupac goes to Vegas, beats up the son, or not the son, beats up the cousin of the guy who knows that there's a hit out on Tupac. You know what I mean? So it's like you already have an incentive to try to do something to him because you're hearing about this $1 million hit. But then
they say he got the gun from Eric Von Zip. They say allegedly Keefe D got the gun from Eric Von Zip, and he had ties to Diddy. They were saying he was the middleman. They were saying he put the $1 million up.
Regardless,
but I'm explaining.
I'm gonna try to highlight a picture to make you understand. I think the cops here are after a bigger fish, but I don't know if they'll catch him. Okay, the cops, I believe, this arrest is a domino to get after a bigger fish. Okay, this guy's the last living person that could connect someone to even any type of hit, bounty, conspiracy, any of that. And I think he gets locked up. They're hoping that he'll possibly flip for lesser charges or something of the sort. Okay? Now, granted, he might not have even any information to really help them with, and maybe he's just gonna, fuck it, we're just gonna close the case because he's the last person alive, right? But there's a lot of theories of why this happened. Now, keep in mind, the Keefe D dude, remember I told you he got caught up in charges in LA? He did a proffer session, and everything he said in the proffer session, he wrote it in a book. And then he went on interviews to say it. The proffer session only says that particular interview can't be used. Anything subsequent could always be used. He's been snitching on himself literally for 5 years straight. There's more videotapes on this nigga. I mean, like, I don't even know what. So they could have picked this guy up at any time. They just chose to pick him up now. And yeah, okay. I think that's about. Okay, so let me get to some of the things to try to make you guys understand. First and foremost, by the way, we're gonna use a lot of Vlad TV videos, and Vlad, I love you and thank you for your diligent services in fucking help cracking and solving this case, whether you knew it or not. I think you did know it. But here's the thing, and by the way, let me pull this shit. So here we go. So now you kind of understand a little bit of premise. Let's now play a bit of what the guy from his own words said. And maybe I should show you. Actually, no. I know I should do. My bad. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I'm kind of scatterbrained. And by the way, I know sometimes you act like we're dumb. Yeah, well, sometimes I'm remedial myself. I be thinking, like, if I was not me, would I understand what the fuck I'm doing? Okay, let me go to Law and Crimes. So what I'm going to do is, before I get to his interviews, I'm going to go to Law and Crimes. They did a whole press conference today. So where's that? Videos. Okay, yeah. They did a whole press conference. I'm going to have y'all listen to the press conference. It's going to break down certain details. Then we're going to get to the interviews about specific details. Then we're going to kind of break down the conspiracy, okay? We're going to kind of find out some new characters. We're going to go down some rabbit holes, okay? So, by the way, just buckle in for a little bit, okay? Here we go.
My name is Kevin McMahill. I'm the sheriff of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. 27 years. 27 years. For 27 years, the family of Tupac Shakur has been waiting for justice. We are here today to announce the arrest of 60-year-old Dwayne Keith Davis, a.k.a. Keefe D, for the murder of Tupac Shakur. Davis was arrested this morning by my LVMPD criminal apprehension team, and this investigation started on the night of September 7th, 1996. It is far from over. It has taken countless hours, really decades, of work by the men and women of our homicide section to get to where we are today. Several of those detectives that are standing here with us include Detective Cliff Mogg, the lead detective on this case. He is now retired. While I know there's been many people who did not believe that the murder of Tupac Shakur was important to this police department, I'm here to tell you that was simply not the case. It was not the case back then, and it is not the case today. Our goal at LVMPD has always been to hold those accountable and responsible for Tupac's violent murder accountable. Just like we do for every homicide victim in our city. Every single victim, every life that is lost is important and remains a problem.
Let me skip a little bit because I don't want to bore people, but I also want to get to the meat and potatoes.
For the murder of Tupac Shakur.
So they're going to describe all the facts they know, or they're down. By the way, they're still investigating. They're not going to tell you everything, but they're going to tell you enough that they're cool with the public knowing at this point. But it'll establish some facts for y'all. Here we go.
Came to Vegas to attend the Mike Tyson feud with the Southside Compton Crips. Dwayne Davis was the leader and shot caller of the Southside Compton Crips. Mm-hmm. And both of these gangs operated out of the Southern California area of Compton. On the night of September 7th of 1996, Tupac Shakur, along with Suge Knight, and members of their entourage, which include members of Mob Piru, came to Vegas to attend the Mike Tyson fight at the MGM Grand Garden Arena.
Yep.
Members of the Southside Compton Crips, which included Dwayne Davis, along with his nephew Orlando Anderson, were also in attendance at the same event. As both were leaving the fight, members of Death Row Records
spotted Orlando Anderson near an elevator bank inside the MGM. And at that time, they began to kick and punch him near that
By the way, again, y'all tell me how deep y'all want to get into this. By the way, I mean, obviously, I would not want Pac to die. But if we was around when the time when Pac got killed, we would have broke this shit down like fucking a pound of weed, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like, even this part, right? Why the fuck did Tupac jump the dude, right? Because Tupac attacked him. The dude allegedly took a chain or robbed a chain from one of Tupac's niggas, and that's a whole story in itself that you could go down like a whole different arc on, but we're gonna stick to Pac.
Elevator bank. I will now show you hotel security footage, as many of you have already seen related.
Am I panning? I'm panning, right? Okay, my bad. Sorry. Good. I bet. Sorry.
To this incident. And on this incident, you will see Tupac Shakur, who's wearing a shiny satiny shirt, along with Marion Suge Knight, who is a large man in a brown suit, punching and kicking Orlando Anderson. Following this incident, you'll see hotel security intervene, and then they will leave the area of the fight.
Yeah. By the way, keep in mind of like the certain details. It's in military time, so this is 8:50. Is this 8:50? Is this time correct? Because I'm thinking it's after the fight. Ain't the fight's late?
Little did anyone know that it is this incident right here that would ultimately lead to the retaliatory shooting and death of Tupac Shakur. Following this incident, Tupac and Suge Knight both left the MGM to make their way to a post-fight party, which was to occur at a local nightclub. At the same time, word had spread amongst members of the Southside Compton Crips of what had occurred inside the MGM. And then that's when Dwayne Davis began to devise a plan to obtain a firearm and retaliate against Suge Knight and Mr. Shakur for what occurred inside the hotel against Mr. Anderson. After Davis obtained a gun, he entered into a white Cadillac along with Terrence Brown.
By the way, I know y'all hate when I pause it, but again, these are all different little branches that we have to like possibly investigate, depending on how bored y'all get, because I could take 5 hours on this shit. There was a whole process, and remember the whole thing I was telling you about the conspiracy and the hit and blah blah. The obtaining of the gun that eventually gets used for the murder connects or leads down a path of maybe there was a bigger plot than just always gonna kill. You know what I mean? Because it brings other people into it. So how we obtain the gun brings other people into it, which connects to a bigger conspiracy. We're going to get to that, but let me just let him speak.
DeAndre Smith and Orlando Anderson. Based on our investigation, this is where we know they were seated.
Okay, I'm going to pause here again. Let me just make this bigger. Okay. Actually, I got to make this bigger on my screen too. All right, cool. So the driver was Terrence T. Brown. Then you had DeAndre Smith, and then on the right side you had Dwayne Keefe D Davis, and you had Orlando Baby Lane Anderson. Okay, allegedly the trigger man is the one in the right back seat. His uncle, the one who got arrested, is the one in the front seat. And you're gonna hear the biggest self-snitching ever in the world. Because this guy, who's now in custody, he went on multiple interviews and damn near bragged that he's the one who passed the gun to this guy to do the killing. Which is like, nigga, what? Again, he was saying this for years. Nothing happened, so he basically was like thinking it was cool, right? Let's get back to the shit. Cool.
All of the shit except for Keefe D.
Here we go.
Wayne Davis, Keefe D.
Systematic investigative plan over the last 5 years.
Sorry.
We've conducted countless interviews and corroborated numerous facts that were not only consistent with the crime scene on the night of the incident, but also corroborated and were consistent with the sequence of events that night. This ultimately led to us procuring a search warrant which was executed at Mr. Davis's residence in Henderson, Nevada. And following the execution of that search warrant, in close coordination with the District Attorney's Office, this case was presented to the grand jury, which ultimately led to Davis being indicted on charges of murder. Before I hand it off to the District Attorney's Office, I would be remiss if I didn't thank Detective Mogg and all the other detectives that were not only assigned this case and reviewed this case, but all the other detectives from other agencies that assisted us in this investigation. They know who they are, and thank you very much for all the assistance you provided. It does not go unnoticed. And lastly, one of the most important things, in my opinion, is we need to make this be a reminder that the charge of murder does not have a statute of limitations. This agency has been and is invested in solving our cold case homicides.
Okay, let me skip a little bit.
Davis will appear in court in the next few days or so.
Okay.
Retired detective.
Again, we don't have to get, we don't have to listen to every word. I'm going to summarize a lot for y'all. Okay. So first things first. So the guys in custody, they kind of gave me some details about what happened on that night, that fateful night in September 1996. Here's also the interesting thing, okay? If you're now, which by the way, apparently this guy used to sell drugs and all that type of shit. This guy's a gang member, right? Obviously that stopped or dried up over time, right? Because he would have been locked up. And by the way, he did get locked up for drugs too. That's one of the reasons he was caught in some bond in LA, right? So recently, his thing has been getting paid for interviews. So everybody wants to hear the same story about Pac. He's been telling the same story about how he was in the car, this and third, and because he never got arrested, and also him falsely thinking the proffer agreement that I've talked to y'all about before still remained. And this is the thing about just how dumb niggas is. I ain't gonna hold you. Chat, think about this, okay? Let me just paint a scenario for you. Tupac gets killed in Vegas. This, even though the FBI is taking some interest in it, the majority of the investigation is being handled by Las Vegas PD. You get caught up in some shit in LA, and then you basically give up certain shit about what happened in Las Vegas to get out of the LA situation. This guy moved back to Las Vegas. Why would you move back to the jurisdiction of where you know and you're still bragging about committing or being in the car when a murder was committed? Like, think about this. If you killed Tupac or you were in the car and y'all killed Tupac, why would you even live in the same city that they could run a search warrant on your house 27 years later? Like, come on. Like, it doesn't, bro, move at least to the next town. Brother, you should be in Florida somewhere. Like, nigga, how are you still down the street from where the murder happened? You know what I mean? How the hell are you still there? So, that's already the stupid thing. The second stupid thing is this. Brother, even if you mistook a proffer agreement, which is Queen for a day, versus unilateral immunity, first and foremost, that happened in LA. So you got that in LA. The murder happened in Las Vegas. LAPD or LA County can't protect you from the crime you did in Vegas. Secondly, even if you thought, even if whatever reason you thought that you had some type of protection, or you thought the proffer deal was going to stand, you do know other crimes that might be associated with it you could be charged for. And again, I'm just trying to give y'all some definitions that we understand why he's getting locked up. He did a proffer agreement. He told on himself there, but that can't count. Then he told his story on Vlad TV 50 times and a bunch of other places 2 million times. They're finally using that evidence. By the way, he also didn't leave Vegas. If he had left Vegas, the feds would have had to come get him, right? And I think the feds, I'm going to be honest with you, this is why I keep listen, the feds, I believe, everybody know the nigga was there. I don't think the feds care that much about him. I think they've been dangling him out there, hoping that him constantly talking about the issue would attract the interest or attract the self-interest of another person who they care about, maybe the guy who allegedly who had a hit on somebody, hoping that he would either reach out, do something to get this nigga to stop fucking talking. Whether it is, clean up his, loose ends or pay the nigga like, yo, so bro, please stop fucking talking, bro. Please stop talking about this shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think the Fed, so if you ask me, and by the way, you're going to see later, the feds want the big fish. The feds don't want this nigga. Local police wants this nigga. You get what I mean? So if he had moved out of Vegas, he probably would have been fine because they're not looking to arrest him as they're looking towards a bigger play. They like doing RICOs, conspiracies, things of that nature, right? Okay, cool. So homie's in custody. By the way, he was indicted. Obviously, there was a grand jury proceeding that went on. That shit's secret. So pretty much what happened is that while everybody, I think he should have known as soon as he got lower probably tell him like, yo, bro, they're probably in the grand jury about this shit. Okay, so they're probably grand jury in this case for, I don't know, weeks to months. And the search warrants at that time was pretty much, I think, the last-ditch effort of the cops to try to get a murder weapon or even bullets or spent shells or anything that could connect to the murder that could make sure this guy gets indicted, right? I don't know what they found at the house. Apparently, they didn't find no gun. They didn't find no spent shells that really matched that particular gun that was used that fired the fatal bullet. But still, they still got an indictment. So the indictment's here, and the nigga's locked up. Cool. All right. So we covered that. Now let's go to Keefe D. Mr. Tell It All. Okay? Let's hear what he got to say about this whole thing. And this is 5 years ago. Okay?
Let's talk about what happens next. Based on what the book says, Zip.
By the way, give me 1 second. I want to y'all want to know self-snitching 101? I gotta show you this. I gotta show you this. This is hilarious. I gotta find this interview. I think is it this interview? I think it's this interview. Yep, it is this interview. Keefe D. I need the full interview. Vlad, I know you got it. Here we go. So I think this is the first interview.
And first day I hit the yard. Basically, it was protection. Really.
Okay. Now, I'm going to show you, again, I'm trying to be very methodical as I'm doing this. The first thing I'm going to show you is the definition of why niggas need to stop hating on snitches because they snitch on themselves. This guy does a Vlad TV interview. By the way, Vlad had interviewed everybody around the orbit of the murder. You're going to see another name that's going to be very interesting to us. He's a white guy. His name is Greg Caden. We're going to get to him too. However, let me see if we can find it. Here we go. I'm trying to find the part where Vlad explicitly asks him, who shot? You know what I mean?
And you look at side by side. So how would you even see Tupac reach for anything if you're driving behind him?
I'm going to drive behind him. He need to be side by side at the light.
So what happens next?
And we just came.
Okay. So chat, this is the funny part about it. Give me 1 second, chat. I know, listen. Let's have some patience with me tonight. I'm gonna make sure I get this whole thing good. Okay. So remember, Vlad gets this guy in. This is like years ago. This wasn't 2 years. This is like years ago, maybe 5 years ago. Look how Vlad gets this nigga to start snitching on himself. Look how Vlad does it.
Shit. I ain't gonna go into details like that.
Classic street nigga shit. Hey, I ain't gonna go into details like that because I'm a real street nigga. Here we go.
Yeah. You got it in a book. What was it do in Detroit?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and also you had C-Ray, which...
Yeah.
And that was one of your salesmen, basically.
Yeah, one of my captains.
So let's talk about what happens next. You know, based on what the book says, Zip gave you a Glock. Gave you that.
Okay, remember those names. Zip. So I'm giving out some other names. This is Keefe D. There's a guy named Zip. Orlando Anderson, a.k.a. Baby Lane, is the dude that gets beat up. That's his nephew. And that's the guy supposedly pulled the trigger. Zip is the guy who gave the gun. Okay? Zip is the middleman to the big fish. We're going to get to it.
Guy's a Glock. And you guys toss it in the back seat. And Bubble Up was a driver. And Baby Lane and Freaky were in the back seat.
We was just all in the car together.
So, this is, remember, this is the first time Vlad interviewed this nigga. This is how street niggas are. Vlad did his research so good. Vlad is telling him where people is in the car. You know why? Because he already snitched other places, just nobody put it together. So Vlad is saying, that person's in the driver's seat, you're here, there's two niggas in the back. And Vlad is surprising this guy with the story. You know what the guy say? Let's just say we in the car, because he's trying to be street and not give the info up.
This was the white Cadillac.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys are driving around, and then you hear these girls say, Tupac, Tupac.
By the way, I seen somebody just mentioned, somebody said Zip was a gangster dude out of New York. That's where the story gets me. Why is there a New York nigga connected to this whole thing? And also, keep in mind, there's a whole beef between Coast, allegedly, at that point. Here we go.
No, we coming up, what's the name? What's that, Flamingo? Yeah, I think it's Flamingo. He's coming up Flamingo and got to the light. He's gonna go drink, smoke some weed, and he happened to be hanging out the window. He's hanging out the window like he was in parade.
Tupac.
Yeah, he was.
Yo, Pac was
So what happens next?
And we just came, and shit. I ain't gonna go into details like that.
Why
You know
not?
what I'm saying?
Why not?
You know, you got it in a book. You done played it, everything else. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, in the book, you said that as you're driving up towards the BMW, with Suge driving and Tupac in the passenger seat, and you said that Tupac pulled out a gun.
It looked like he was reaching, yeah. Yeah, it did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you actually see a gun?
Oh, shit. Once he got the reaching, I got the dunking.
So someone from your car
That's what I
started shooting at Tupac and Suge.
Plane starts blasting.
Okay, so let me pause this right here. So this is which, by the way, this is crazy. This is crazy. This is why this thing is so deep, by the way. This audio you're hearing is the LA proffer session that got recorded. By the way, the audio of a proffer session should never come out, right? This should never be released, but I think people felt like they were at the dead end. I think the detective, who's now retired, by the way, Greg Caden, we're going to get into him a lot too, pause. I think he leaked this audio. But again, this is an audio that could never be used against him no matter what he says. But here's also the caveat. He has to tell the truth.
You say Suge looks over, he sees you. He looks right at you. When he looks over at you, and then, Tupac's busy getting shot. Evidently, the story is Tupac's trying to either get out
in the back seat or something.
Yeah, what do you see happening inside there?
I seen the bullet going Suge, yeah, I thought he was dead. Thought he was dead.
So Orlando shot across Dre?
He leaned over on the window, he rolled down the window, popped.
Who was it?
They would drove on my side, I was popped. You know what I'm saying? But they was on the other side.
Right.
I'm not gonna go into details on that one. Keep it streets on me. I ain't gonna go into details.
Hilarious. I ain't gonna go into details on that one. I wanted to keep it straight. Nah, this is great. Yo, this is great. I ain't gonna go into details on that one, but I'm gonna keep it straight. Chat. Let me then just use his proffer to paint the picture of what's going on. Okay. By the way, this is a car. I actually could show you out the turn or the intersection where it happened. So this is a white Cadillac here, and Baby Lane is the shooter, right? Who's the guy in the back right? But the car they're shooting at with Pac is over here. So they're saying he leans over this nigga and then dumps, okay? He dumps out the window because apparently the gun that Von Zippen gave Keefe D, I guess when it came time to do the murder, he threw it in the back and said, all right, one of y'all niggas could do the do, right? Okay, so this is great. So he said he won't say nothing because he's trying to keep it in the street. Perfect. Yo, this is why Vlad is devious. This nigga said, I ain't gonna say nothing about this. I'm gonna keep it in the street. You wanna hear what Vlad says?
Read from the book.
I'm gonna read from the book, nigga.
Well,
So
let him buy the book then.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to read this passage. The ship was on. Tupac made an erratic move and began to reach down beneath his seat. It was the first and only time in my life that I could relate to the police command. Keep your hands where I could see them. Instead, Pac pulled out a strap, and that's when the fireworks started. One of my guys from the back seat grabbed the Glock and started busting back. The first shot skinned Suge in the head, and I thought that motherfucker was dead. I had heard some stories, supposedly that Suge used Tupac as a shield when the bullets started flying, but that's some bullshit. Suge was already wounded, and he was the one that got touched. As the rounds continued flying, I ducked down so I wouldn't get hit.
Basically, yeah.
The white Cadillac arm came out.
Okay. Also, that last part is important because remember, they see the car. Apparently, I also got to paint the picture. It's a bunch of cars that was in a motorcade damn near. They pull up on it. Pac's window is down. The dude sees him. He leans over and starts shooting at Tupac. And before they kind of skirt off, there is somebody who returns fire at them. So people did return fire at them. And that's why I'm just throwing somebody else into it. That's why Keefe D is saying he ducked down
Out the back seat and start letting off.
Well, what went through your head when you saw that?
They shoot my nigga.
So the bullets started flying. Tupac and Suge's car get all shot up. Was there, and I'd heard different versions of the story, but the one version I heard was that their entourage started shooting back.
Basically, yeah.
Okay. Does anyone from the death row side return fire?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is another key figure in this entire thing. This guy is Reggie Wright Jr. He was head of security. I believe also he worked with law enforcement in some capacity at a point. But so this guy, he's head of security or was head of security for Death Row Records. All right, Reggie Wright Jr.
Okay. Can you say who that was?
Yeah, he's no longer with us. His name was Buntry.
Buntry.
One of Chef's right-hand guy, our good friend, Al McDonald. He chased the car down. He also received one gunshot to his vehicle. His car was shot. He had a black Toyota Supra.
Okay, so after they shoot Pac, one of the cars that's in that line, oh shit, there's shots being fired. They chase after the white Cadillac who tries to get out of there. And there's an individual, you don't even know him that much right now, but Buntry, that's his name, he fired back. So he's a nigga again, you're going to realize how some of these stories mirror other stories later on. Like, this kind of is almost like the King Von situation. You know what I mean? But anyway, like a fight turned into something else, and then other people. Anyway. So, yeah, Buntry shot at the dudes. From what we know, nobody got shot, but that white Cadillac got out of there.
And him and another guy returned shots at that car.
Yeah, they said they left their guns. I don't know. They started shooting back. And some chicks was in the sea breeze, started following a white sea breeze, red top sea breeze.
Why were the girls following you guys?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's crazy.
In the midst of this, Remember, Tupac is a worldwide superstar. So when they pull up by the light, well, he even says it. He says the only reason, because they were looking for Tupac, they were driving around looking for Tupac. They see some women who are like, Tupac. Like, so, that's when they're like, oh, there he is type shit. You know what I mean? So there's these women who are also in the midst who, by the way, ironically, is a group of women that alerted them to Tupac's whereabouts. And I guess, like, after the shots get fired, these same women, like, they're probably also frazzled. They don't know what to do. They said the women were almost kind of following them. I don't know what the fuck. Anyway.
But I guess their window got shot out.
From windshield, yeah.
And they stopped following you at that point.
Exactly.
So by the way, I guess, remember, they're getting out of the scene. They just got shot at a couple times by Suge's right-hand man, Buncher, and another guy. But then there's some girls also behind them. So they're probably just trying to get out of there. They're probably shooting back or whatever. A bullet hits the windshield of the girls. They stop following. They ain't about that life. You know what I mean? Like, oh, shit, never mind. You got it.
I've talked to a couple people that were there about the situation. And from what they told me was that, you guys came up, the car that you were in came up behind Tupac's car. You guys the cars were not facing each other.
No, they weren't facing each other.
They were not facing each other.
Got it right.
You guys got up parallel to them, behind them. And, when you look side by side. So how would you even see Tupac reach for anything if you're driving behind him?
We weren't driving behind him. They didn't be side by side at the light.
Oh, okay. You guys were already side by side.
Yeah.
So you guys ended up going back to the hotel together afterwards.
Yeah.
Someone actually suggested that y'all pour out a little bit of liquor for Tupac.
No, I wouldn't. Pour out a little liquor for us. Pour it down our throat.
I'm going to read from the book.
Okay.
We made it back to the hotel. We popped our bottles and partied like it was any other night. Of course, someone suggested that we pour out a little for Tupac, which we did.
Okay, so I think y'all get it, but, try to make this. I think y'all, obviously I know y'all smart, but maybe I'm the stupid one. So, yeah, this is Microsoft Paint, okay? So essentially, this is a roadway. Okay. Man, I gotta make it small, my bad. Here we go. So essentially, this is a roadway, right? Let's go. Okay, right? But it's a multi-lane road. Actually, I can show you the road. I think it might be even another lane at the intersection. Car here, car here, car here, and then car here. They pull up here, and I think Pac was here, Suge was here. There's an intersection here, and I'm trying to get time to visually see like what the fuck was going on, okay? I'm gonna come back to the diagram, don't worry about it. Y'all like my mini detectives, you feel me? I gotta put y'all on game. Y'all gonna help me solve this shit. This already solved it.
With our weed, like we had planned to in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I just made the book get cited on him. We ain't poured out no liquor for him.
You guys didn't pour out any liquor for Tupac?
I said, that was a suggestion, but I ain't pour out no liquor for him. That was a suggestion of one of the homies here.
Okay. So, you guys leave Vegas, the next day?
Yeah. The next day, that Monday.
Well, you said that you guys went and stashed the gun, I guess on one of the wheels in the Cadillac, but when you came back, the gun was gone.
Yeah.
You guys drove back in that white Cadillac back to LA.
No, I didn't drive
back to Compton, no?
No, I didn't drive it back.
Okay, well, somebody drove. One of the homies drove the Cadillac. Okay, got it.
Flat ass.
Then you guys went and got the Cadillac repainted, I guess?
Yeah, you got it painted white. Turned it back in.
Okay, and it was a rental?
Yeah.
And you said, you told Baby Lane, don't tell nobody what happened, not even your mama. Don't say a motherfucking thing.
For nobody.
You know, if anyone asks what happened, nothing.
Yeah. Told old Carter. We came back Sunday. That Monday, we was all sitting on in our neighborhood. Reggie Sr., the captain of the Compton Police, comes up.
Okay. Oh yeah, Reggie Sr., the father of the other guy who I showed you. Remember I said that he was the Reggie Jr.? He's a police officer.
Run the stop sign. I guess he had just finished debriefing his soldiers at the Compton PD. He run our stop sign on the street, came up, jumped out of his car and like, hey motherfucker, let me tell you something, Keefe D, you kill my son, motherfucker, it's on. I'm like, what the fuck is you talking about? Fuck you. You know, he's like, I'm just telling you, motherfucker, the belt's coming on. I'm like, this motherfucker's stupid. Then 2 hours later, he get our little trap spot raided. Take all our guns, all that shit. So it's basically the city of Compton police against the South Side. So, but there was some dudes from the Compton.
Okay. Good place to stop his story. So he basically kind of gave up as much as he's going to give up. Now, and again, Vlad has a lot of these interviews, but some other people has it too. Who gives a great summation of this is an actual detective who solved this whole thing. Okay, remember that audio y'all heard, which is a proffer agreement, and I said this guy leaked it. He's the guy who was working the case. Listen to this.
Well, when we were looking at Tupac's murder, we were really evaluating two theories: the Suge Knight did it theory or the Southside Crips did it theory. And as we began to kind of go through a process of elimination, we were able to pretty quickly dismiss the Suge Knight aspect. The Suge Knight.
It was always ridiculous. By the way, so there was a theory that maybe, again, people were saying that Pac was about to leave death row because, like, there's a lot of people leaving death row. Okay.
Yeah, just 1 minute. Yeah, that's Greg Kading, the cop that he was also involved in the case with Mark Stevens and Stutterbox and Wack 100. Wack 100 gonna talk about it. He'll talk about a couple other things. But let's listen to a little audio for Wack.
And the Pop Warner football was the best thing. I still think it is a game.
Talk about Big U, how he got the developing options, and how he learned about the grid contract for Star Wars, Star Wars TV.
For them to participate in the football camp?
$100 to play the whole year of football. So guess where all the money from the shoulder pads and the uniforms and all that, the rental of the field had to come from? Big U had to go hustling. Right. So this is where you hear when I would write checks to the Crenshaw Colts for the shoulder pads, you know what I'm saying, or the helmets, right? So we all would chip in, all the industry dudes, ball players. I called niggas like, yo, bro, game would post on his Instagram for the sign-ups to get the kids there. So the beautiful part that I did see was this. Although practice was at Crenshaw High, or the other little junior high school, I forget the name of it. And the owner of it was from Rolling 60s, and the majority of coaches were from Rolling 60s. It will be kids from all the surrounding so-called enemy neighborhoods coming to join the team, right? So what I saw him doing was bringing the kids together early before they became enemies because they was from these different sets. So everything I said right there, I meant. I don't take none of that back. But I never knew about agreeing or none of that. I just knew developing options as a 501(c)(3). And I associate and identify 501(c)(3) with what I know churches to operate under. And my baby mama years ago when she was going to start some type of group home or something, I remember she had to go take some classes to create that for herself. But Chuck, what was that, 2022 maybe?
Yeah, I think it had to be like it'd be the end of 2021 or 2022 to begin it.
2022, I get attacked by a dude named Starwood, right? Because of how close being Big U was, and at this time, I wasn't dealing with Big U. The other shit had happened. He's assuming that I'm part of the grid making the money with Big U. So he does a clip, put my face on it, put my name on it, alongside Big U, talking about we working with the police and all this shit here. And it was so in depth. I think I called you. I'm like, Chuck, you know this dude? And you put me in tune with him.
Right. Yep. That's how that went. And I was telling you, like, before I even reached out to him, I'm like, well, you know, this dude don't like you. And he said that you involved with Big U and y'all basically in the same boat. And he was like, no, reach out to him for me. Let me talk to him. And that's when he pretty much was like, he don't want to talk to you. But then I sent you that paperwork. Like, you know, well, this is what he's promoting on YouTube. And I think you went through it, and within 24 to 48 hours or something, yeah, you had something to say about it.
Yeah, because what got my attention was the BlackBerry. All those years, because Big U was not a computer savvy type dude. You understand what I'm saying? That ain't what he does. So I was asking him, why you got a BlackBerry? You know, he had a regular phone, an Android, an iPhone, whatever it was. So why you got a BlackBerry? And he would always give me an excuse, oh, man, it's a backup phone, whatever. I never really heard the phone ring. So when I'm reading the paperwork at the link he had, I see it says, issued from 77th Street Crash Division, BlackBerry cell phone to correspond with law enforcement. Nigga, I couldn't eat for a week. Now I'm nervous. So I don't know how I got dude to get online with me. Maybe he heard me run a room on him, right? And I remember talking to him. I said, bro, I don't know nothing about what a grid is. Nothing. I see you broke it down. I'm not questioning it. But what's up with the paperwork? Paperwork come to me, the raw paperwork that he was breaking down. So I'm reading. I'm going through it like 100-something pages. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Because now I'm like, dude is a double agent. This nigga's really the police. This nigga really, he had never all them years Chuck mentioned grid, 77th Street Division. None of that. I used to ask him, you know, was he paying for the graffiti shit and all this? He said, nah, the city or whatever donates it. So that was my way of saying, well, he got some ties to the city. Some ties to city funding.
America, right?
Yeah, whatever that was, right? But I think Starwood, when he checked McCormick, he said McCormick got one too. So when he went to check McCormick, he said, nah, Wack, you ain't know that. Ain't never been on it. I said, bro, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. Educate me on what this is, bro. I said, look, bro, you been to the pen? He's like, yeah, Wack, I've been to the joint. I said, bro, this shit got me nervous, homie. We ran together for many years, so you telling me he go back to 2011 doing this type of thing, I'm starting to think about things, right? So I think Star was feeling I'm sincere. And from there, we started building. That's how I started to understand what the hell the grid was, and that dude is really working with the police. So I don't take nothing back that I said in 2020. Matter of fact, even today, the things he does with the youth, the football, if he's still doing graffiti removal, all that, I still don't have nothing bad to say about that. It's just that you rolling 60 and you politicking over here on this side, but then you communicating with the police on the other side, and you doing things that I know you got indictments, you ain't went to jail, you got this going on, that going on, and it's like, my nigga, you an agent. There's no gang member that I know to where it's okay to have a contract with the LAPD and get paid when it says you got to deliver gang information, gang activity, guns, gang hotspots, and in order to keep this contract, it's an annual performance, and you have to perform or we pull the contract, which means you have to provide these things. And he's been having this shit for 13 years. He went from 550,000, I think he's at like 2.2, 2.4 million. He constantly, every 2-3 years, they bumped him up. His first raise, Chuck, you read it was 444,000, 440 or something. So he's performing. So, you know, I don't know if people got a brain, but it's like they say, look, it's an annual contract. At the end of the year, we see out your performance. We're either going to pull the contract, leave you at your pay, or keep you there, renew it, and then give you a raise. He's been performing. So I don't take nothing back that I said in that clip.
Oh, I got you. And then another one of the things he had mentioned in the clip, and this is the crazy part, right? Because, you know, I heard Munchie B speak on this subject before with this cs2 back. I heard Brick Baby speak on him before, and I recently just hearing them both. Like even in that video, he said like basically he's alluding to it being fake. Brick Baby about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, he was on No Jumper. He alluded to it being fake. You know, and you know, with that whole situation, this cs2 back, I remember you sending me text messages from Mark Stevens, and then I'm listening to this audio of Mark Stevens, and Mark Stevens is saying that when he showed Big U this paperwork would have been in 2017, Big U stopped fucking with you, but just like the interview you mentioned, and this is from 2020. Also, you showed me a bunch of text messages from Mark Stevens, like basically saying like Happy Father's Day, you know, Merry Christmas, how's the family? Hey, pictures
my daughter just graduated. My son just graduated. Sending me their pictures. That's like 2019, 2022, 2021. So I do know. I read Mark one day. He was playing with me on something, and I told him. And I think Stutterbox kind of vouched for this because he was on the phone. And I think this could fall out of him and Stutterbox because Stutterbox is kind of his protection. And I told Mark, nigga, I'll beat your ass. I'll break your jaw, little nigga. I'll fuck you up. And he like, Box, you gonna let him get at me like that? And Box said, shit, y'all two grown men, handle it. And I think since then, he has some distaste for me. But even after that, I've seen Mark in Atlanta. I've seen Mark in New York. When I always talk about, I put Kendrick Lamar and J-Rock on stage. That was something Shaq was doing for Mark Stevens' neighborhood in Long Island. You know what I'm saying? Bum B, everybody was there. Jim Jones. So, you know, seeing Mark that day, I would go to Atlanta. Mark would give me the keys. Shaq would green light it to the penthouse over there in Buckhead. The condo was like condo number 307. Mark would call me, check in with me. Went to his crib. The crib he had built. Went to the crib of his little side chick he had over there. Pulled up on it in my diesel one time coming across country. So I believe, you know, they both Muslims. I don't know, maybe Big U got to him. It didn't make sense because
he did say in the audio, he said in the audio that I heard with Mark Stevens, the audio that they be playing, he said that once he heard you was going against Big U, he had to come out and say something. So it definitely got something to do with Big U.
Yeah, it got to do something to do with that because the 2017 online, that was Mark. From there to 2021, late 2022, you texted me pictures of your kids and their graduation, and you wishing me, you know, checking in with the family. And I seen you once or twice. You called me to try to get Ray J. He had like a stripper reality show he was trying to do down there in Atlanta. I know Shaq had bagged up off of him. Stuff like that. And again, Big U said, that's my studio. But Gilly and Wallow, you know that, right, Chuck? That's in my studio.
Yeah, I remember you told me that, as well as the Checking In podcast.
Yeah, his first episode was in the back of my studio.
Yeah.
OT Genesis. We did him one segment, we did game one segment. They called me, might have added me out. And shit like that. The True Card went in there, but yeah. So none of it, you know, nothing they say makes sense because their whole thing is a play. But I think Mark been having a distaste because he tried to make a run into the music business. He was dead center in the middle of the Ray J deal. He was on that side of the label side, the Shaq side. I was on management side with Ray J, orchestrating everything, making sure it was right. And after that, it didn't go right. I do know in like 2021, K Slay called me. You know what, Chuck? K Slay called me. K Slay did an album with Mark through Koch. He did an album, and he called me and said, Wack, you know, I don't know a lot about the business side of it. I did this album some years ago, 5-6 years ago, whatever it may be, said I've never got a royalty check. I said, well, he said, I want you to call in the E1, because Koch had been brought up by E1. I said, well, E1 ain't gonna have it. You did it up on the Mark, right? He said, yeah. E1 is sending Mark your money, and Mark gotta pay you your cut. Right? And I remember K Slay called it Mark. And Mark called me, yo, Wack, what's up? Why you do me like that? I said, do you like what, bro? He like, Slay just called me. I said, what, about the check? Yeah. I said, well, how did I do? He said, come on, Wack, man, you know that nigga don't really know what's going on. Why you putting him up on game? And I got mad because Slay my brother. I said, hold on, bro. You saying you beating, bro? Like, nigga, I just told him how to go. I thought he was going to call you and you was going to tell him you send him a bag or maybe y'all just recouped maybe you gonna check account. Nigga, you pretty much telling me you getting over on me. And he was like, nah, Wack, you right, man. Let me have my people. Because Marcus is a square dude, right? And he like, let me have my people look into it. And he kind of like eased off of it. And then I would hear from him periodically through text messages. He called me one time trying to get Ray J down there. Ray J didn't want to do it. He never liked Mark. He only dealt with him because I would tell him he had to. So
yeah, because he did say in the audio, he was like, you backdoored him. And what you speaking on is basically pretty much what he was saying, but he was saying it in a different way. But,
but I never even heard nothing he say. So I'm just telling you, I've never heard none of Mark's interviews. So that's not a backdoor. Like, Chuck, if you called me, right, you like, yo, Wack, man, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, all right, well, you signed to who? Well, I'm signed to, I'm signed to Loose Cannon, okay? But the deal with Universal, okay, well, no business ain't with Universal. Universal gonna pay Loose Cannon, and Loose Cannon gotta pay. I pretty much walked Slade to where it was. At the time, see, if I'd have thought Mark was getting over on him, I would have just called Mark myself, like, homie, what's happening with this, and dealt with it A to Z. I just broke it down to Slade on how it was supposed to be. Slade must have called him. So, see, Chuck, you just answered the question. That's why he on what he on. He mad that I gave Slade the information, but nigga, what I was supposed to do, that's my brother. And when I did give it to him, I didn't give it to him thinking that it was a problem. I just gave it to him so we can have an understanding of how to approach the problem. It's the difference.
No, I got you. And then, he had mentioned a guy by the name of Deuce M's, and I know Deuce M's, he make a lot of videos on you, and he had said that basically, alluding to like he won, and just I forget exactly what words he used.
What he win?
He won like the battle between you with the whole cs2 back situation. Now, me personally, I don't think Deuce M's, doing well on YouTube at all. He's in the chat, he's probably gonna make a video about this. He's been like he wanted to work with you, right?
Beg to work with me.
All right.
Presenting some type of Bitcoin thing. And when I first met Deuce, I thought he was a New York blood because he was on the New York side of Clubhouse.
Yeah, Eastern District.
And I would always hear him say words like sanction and shit. That ain't how we talk out here in the West, right? So when he approached me, I kind of handled him like that. And when he told me where he was from, I called the Brills. Niggas I did time with. They like, Wack, we know the nigga, but, he beat a chick and threw her in the trunk on some fake pimp shit and got out and moved to Madison, Wisconsin. And we really don't see him. We've been going at that time, they said 10, 12 years. So it got to be like 14, 15 years now. So, when his homies went vouch for him, I just simply told him I didn't want to deal with it because, they ain't vouching for you. I don't know you. My first interaction with you was I thought you was a New Yorker. So, I just left it at that. And I caught on that the way he talks, he tries to talk like he's bigger than what he is, right? He talks about things that he's never really been a part of or never done. And I can pick up on that. So it was like, and I really don't like to do business with niggas. I do business with black people, but I don't like the nigga business. And, there's certain things about people that I can look at you and how you present yourself, and it tells me what you are and who you are. So I just chose not to do business with him. Because before he was a Wack fan. His content, the content I brought Roddy Rich down there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, his boy Yael, and he was like low key behind the scenes working with it, right?
Yeah, he like, Wack, get Roddy, line the nigga up. So that's why when I be seeing these dudes on stage, it'd be funny to me because I'm like, damn, nigga, you the one that was kind of behind us putting Yael in the box. But nevertheless, if you listen to it, he's addressing me. Wack, they Wack, you're Wack, like Wack was saying, he's very cordial and respectful, but when I told him I didn't want to do no business with him, he started to fuck the Wack campaign. But at the end of the day, I think what it is I'm everything that he wanted to be. He wanted to be a music exec. He wanted to, have a label, and then I think he got mad when we exposed about his father, that his father kind of like much has been a little different, he involved himself in homosexual activity in prison. He did a lot of time. It's a nigga named John Jr. or something, right? So I think when I exposed that, and then not only that, y'all all witnessed when I had him in tears, when I exposed that his brother, Booger Brim, who we used to always talk about, Booger Brim, is a PC roll-up case, a product and victim by none other than Big U himself.
Wow.
So his brother Booger Brim is PC'd up on the PC yard, rolled up by the 6-0s, a shot called by Big U himself. So when I exposed that through his own homies on my phone, what's the nigga name? What's that boy name? The drunk nigga from his neighborhood. Chuck, you on mute. What's the drunk nigga?
Little Stretch.
So Lil Stretch and Baby Stretch, I believe, call my phone. Baby Stretch, he got life or something. They call my phone. I just call my phone. They like, yeah, I don't know why that nigga talking on the homie. When his brother PC got rolled up by Big U, homies looking at him real funny. Boom, boom, boom. So they explained, because remember, Deuce Sims is the first one ran the grid program paperwork on Big U on Clubhouse.
They called him COINTELPRO.
Called him a snitch, COINTELPRO, called him all of that. Deuce Sims is the first one ran the paperwork before I do anything about it, right? So when I look up and see what I'm seeing, but I understand Big U. Big U know that. And once you done did Big U like that, it's never going to be good. He'll play good. I know it. He'll play good, but in a minute, Deuce Sims keep on lingering around there, and, you know, it's going to get weird on him. You know what I'm saying? One thing I do know about Big U, he crafty and he sneaky. He'll never forget what he heard, because we personally sent it to him, to one of his mans. His man said he heard it and really didn't know the extent that dude went in on him. So, you know, he a brill. Big U can't stand them dudes over there. You know what I mean? At the end of the day,
what made you think that, like, because he did change, he said that, oh, yeah, you know, he talked to Big U and Big U explained it a different way, what was going on with the grid and the paperwork he had.
He ran the room for 3 hours. He read
every line for line.
He read every line.
Yeah,
There's no explaining when you read every line. But what it was he thought Big U, see, if people don't know no better, we built Big U in the industry to look like he was something he wasn't, right? We utilized him what we needed him for, and we put him in a space to where it looked like he was doing something. If you sit back and think about it, Big U has 0 accolades in the music industry. None. He can't take blame. He can't take credit for Nipsey Hussle. That was a me and Gang play to get him that deal. Nipsey got away from him. Nipsey got away from him quick. He wasn't even there on his rise. Nipsey shook him, right? So I think he like shit. If he don't know no better, you think Big U really got to do to make something happen. And I think Deuce Sims was like, I'm going to get in, get some plugs.
See the wheels turning in his head. I think, you know, he's a sophisticated, smart guy as far as street crimes go. So, you know, he knew that we weren't bullshitting, and he had his back up against the wall. So, you know, I think for him, it was just one of these, you know, aha moments.
So he went and met with you at the U.S. Attorney's Office.
With an attorney.
And was there a deal that you offered him at that point?
It's not a deal. It's an agreement. It's known as a proffer agreement.
Okay. This is again, remember I said a bunch of these things before, but this is the thing I was talking about. So remember, he killed Tupac, or his cousin, or his nephew killed Tupac when he was in the car. They left Vegas, go back to LA. People are taking interest in that. They pull up on him and say, oh, bro, we know you smuggling hella drugs. Okay? And the way they approach him, they don't approach him with, yo, slap cuffs on you, you're under arrest. They basically let him know about the covert operation they've have going on, and they said, yo, we can discuss it more. He gets a lawyer, they meet at the U.S. Attorney's Office, and he's now, basically, this is a part about the proffer that's really important. So listen carefully.
And he's given the opportunity through a...
Lachelle, you like the Halloween thing? Appreciate it.
Agreement between his attorney and the United States attorney to evaluate whether or not it's in his best interest to cooperate. And so that was the arrangement, that he would sit down and tell us everything we wanted to know about anything we asked, and that he had to be entirely truthful, or else he would be charged, not only for the drug crimes, but for potentially his own confession.
Okay. So he sat down with you and started
Okay. Now, by the way, I know I'm helping you guys navigate through this, but I'm not knowledgeable of every single thing, so I'm also learning too. I think they disposed of even charging him, right? Or maybe they gave him some type of qualified immunity to the drug charges. They were pretty much, it's basically the cops threatening you, saying, hey, listen, if you're gonna do this, we could arrest you for that. You know what I mean? So again, I don't think he ever gets maybe he did get charged with it, but let me keep hearing the story.
How long did he talk? Well, we had multiple interviews. It wasn't just one time. We sat down and spoke a variety of times on a variety of different topics. But specifically the Tupac and Biggie cases were the ones that we were the most interested in. So we spoke for hours over a long period of time. Keefe, today what we're going to do,
this is the audio of one of those sessions.
We're going to go over with a fine-tooth comb the Las Vegas incidents. We're going to draft up our report regarding that specific thing. And then we're going to cover a few other things that we do have to emphasize to you that everything in this report has to be right on, because if down the road it's determined that some of these details are incorrect, then everything's off the table. So everything in this report cannot be like that before.
Hey, I want to say this though too. I feel like I said that day, don't bullshit me and I won't bullshit y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, Lane starts blasting. You say Suge looks over, he sees you.
Yeah.
He looks right at you.
Definitely looks at me.
Why are you looking right at him?
Fucking know each other since we were 7, 8 years old.
When he looks over at you, and then Tupac's busy getting shot. The story is Tupac's trying to either get out
in the back seat or something.
Yeah, what do you see happening inside there?
I seen a bullet going through his head. I thought he was dead.
By the way, he describes horrifyingly like the moments of Pac getting shot, and like you got to remember, I forgot. I think was it maybe 5 times. I forgot how much times he was hit, but Pac is excitedly jumping all over the place, and he's trying to obviously avoid getting shot, but he's the closest person getting shot. You know what I mean? And they're aiming at him.
I thought he was dead.
So Orlando shot his car across Dre.
He leaned over on the window. We rolled down the window. Pop.
Who was it?
They were drove on my side. I was popping. You know what I'm saying? But they was on the other side.
Right. The group had gone out to Las Vegas without any intent whatsoever to have any problems. They did not go out there with any specific motivation to hunt down Tupac or to have any encounters with Suge Knight. But just by the nature of the rivalry that was taking place between them, they began to have encounters. There was an encounter between the Southside Crips and Suge Knight and his entourage in the arena prior to the event where Orlando Anderson and Tupac Shakur get into a fight.
In Vegas, there was an encounter?
Correct. Prior to the videotape that we see of Tupac and Orlando Anderson getting into an altercation.
Okay, I didn't know about this part. This is the first time I'm hearing about this. So what actually happened before the videotape altercation?
Well, inside the arena, there was just a brief encounter. Now, these Crips and Bloods from these sets, they know each other.
By the way, so it comes back a little bit to Crips and Bloods. Suge were rolling with a bunch of Bloods. There was a bunch of Bloods at the time protecting and were basically the muscle for Suge, okay? Suge himself was not a Blood. Tupac himself was not a Blood, nor a gang member, but the people they aligned with were Bloods, okay? By the way, these Bloods didn't see eye to eye, ironically, with those same Crips that eventually one of them, Tupac, later jumps and then he whatever, okay?
They've encountered each other before during other confrontations, and so they recognize each other.
Somebody says Suge was a Blood. Was Suge a Blood? I thought he wasn't. Okay, I might be wrong there. Never mind, I'm wrong. I'm definitely wrong. Okay, thank you. Yeah, corrected me. I quit. Tupac just wasn't gang affiliated. I didn't know Suge was a Blood. Okay, I'm learning too. I bet.
And there's a little bit of a push and shove match.
Suge was a mob pyro.
statement is made from Suge Knight.
Okay, so basically, this guy just told us that before that infamous video of Pac jumping this dude, there was another altercation. So tensions are high. So this was the second altercation that Pac, Pac was in maybe his first altercation, but there was second altercation between these groups, the Bloods and the Crips, right?
Right. That he's untouchable, and the Crip, replies, well, you can be touched, and this was set a little bit of a adversarial type of setting or environment right off the bat.
By the way, if you guys are on YouTube, I want to see people in the chat. I'm reading all your comments. You have to hit the subscribe button. Just hit the subscribe button. After 5 minutes, you guys can type. If you guys are on Twitch, hit the follow button. You guys will be able to talk. And of course, if you're on Rumble, you guys should be making an account that I can see what the fuck y'all are talking about too. Come on.
As they saw each other.
Okay. So then what happened after the fight?
After the fight, Tupac Shakur and several members of the Mob Piru, Suge's entourage, and members of Death Row, they're all kind of milling around. I don't know if you've been to the MGM, but after a fight, it's just, it's pandemonium. There's just people everywhere. And because there was already this encounter, Trayvon Lane, who had a prior confrontation with Orlando Anderson, recognized Orlando from a prior fight between the two of them, and tells Tupac, hey, be on guard, there's one of our enemies. Tupac takes it upon himself to go over and initiate a altercation with Orlando. The rest of the Mob Piru run over and jump in. It's kind of a gangbang.
Okay.
And once there was we know that Orlando shot at least once behind him and hit Buntry's car. How many shots that Neckbone may have shot downrange, we just don't know. We don't have that information.
So Orlando's car shot back and hit the car from Suge's entourage. That's
okay.
Did anyone get
cool?
Yeah, basically, man, he talking about this Biggie, well, not Biggie, but Tupac investigation with Keefe D. How he explained himself in his proffer session on recording. But I'm gonna play a little bit more for you so y'all can get it.
Cool. Okay, so we hear from this.
Yeah, we can. Steven, is that your new book? Yeah. Look at this. I'm giving this book away this Sunday for free. This is 10 hand and finger exercises. It will save you years if you're trying to learn piano. Did you know the biggest reason people fail in learning piano is because these guys are clumsy and fumbly and not yet trained. And this book will handle that completely. Nothing like this has ever existed. Let me just show you some of this. Finger bomb exercise. How many times did you try to play piano, you hit the wrong note? This exercise handles that. First, I show you how to do it. I explain it. And then look, this takes 1 minute a day on each hand for 3 weeks. What else have we got? Amazing. This one. Okay, say you want to do this. What am I doing there? I've got a lot of coordination and independent finger control. Good. That is handled in this exercise, where I show you exactly how we get that independent finger control and then how we coordinate it. And again, this is 1 minute per hand, 3 times a day for 4 weeks. So this book is a game changer. If you want to play piano, you have to handle the hands first. So to get you going, I'm going to give every single person this book for free. I'm also going to show you how to use it in a big live event I'm doing to celebrate the launch of this book. So I'm going to do a big free live online class. Anybody can come from all over the world. We're going to bring you here. I'm going to show you a bunch of techniques to get playing piano, even if you're level 0. Then I'm going to show you this hand exercises. I'm going to show you how we do it. We're even going to do some together. And then I'm going to give you that book at the end, send you on your merry way, and you can finally get to enjoying this incredible instrument and playing with fun, freedom, and joy. If that's interesting to you, hit the link below, give me your name and your email, and I'll send you the access link, and we see each other live, where we have some fun with these guys. See ya!
Guy. And we're probably going to hear from him a little bit more. Let me continue to decipher and break this down. Okay. He also talks about the autopsy. Okay, all right, cool. So remember, Pac is dead. Remember that. Now we're at the point of the story of why Keefe D is being arrested now. So he basically cooperated. Well, not cooperated. He did this proffer deal, right? Now, here's the thing about a proffer deal too, right? Here's the thing about a proffer deal. A proffer, which by the way, this is the whole. You remember Rollo? Remember Rollo was fighting like those allegations too. By the time I'm done with y'all gonna be law students, okay? Rollo proffer, okay? Rollo responds to snitching allegations, and it was about a proffer. So a proffer is a legal term that technically, honestly, it doesn't necessarily mean you always snitch. It means you definitely give information. And if you're one of those guys, maybe you're 1090 Jake with it, where any information is snitching, cool. But you might give information or you might verify something that's already known, right? That's not necessarily snitching, right? A proffer doesn't mean you're like, yo, he did it type shit, right? A proffer is usually, sometimes in these investigations, factually and also verifying what the prosecutor or whoever think they already know. Or sometimes they'll even do a proffer for, hey, listen, I don't know, we'll do a proffer for you. You have some information that, again, without your knowledge of knowing that it has to do with this case, it does, but we still want to make sure you had nothing to do with the case. They'll do a proffer for that. A proffer do not mean snitching, okay? But you could snitch in a proffer, 100%. And I don't know if that's confusing, right? So going back to it, remember, he does the proffer. We're getting, I don't know if I can find any more Keefe D proffer. I don't think I could find any, whatever. Okay, cool. By the way, I'm going to play this interview. Salute to all these channels. This is Mom First. Greg, this is really good. And by the way, this is actually not too long ago. Cool. By the way, interestingly enough, Vlad.
Welcome to Real Estate Coaching Radio, starring award-winning real estate coaches and #1 international best-selling authors, Tim and Julie Harris. This is the #1 daily radio show for realtors looking for a no BS, authentic, real-time coaching experience. What's really working in today's market, how to generate more leads, make more money, and have more time for what you love in your life. And now your hosts, Tim and Julie Harris.
3, 2, 1, and we're back. We have received a lot of questions, a lot of inquiries, and a
you know, again, when these things are coming down, Vlad recently was contacted about the interviews. This is what happened.
Keefe D House gets raided.
Yeah. In Nevada. Hey, hold on. Press the 604. I see your comment on YouTube. He says, why would you verify?
Yeah, man, boy, Keefe D, man. Vlad was questioning about his interview with him, man. They try to tie him to all the books and the proffer and all this. After he even gave him information, tried to double back on him. Now he in jail. Like one tried to post bail for him, but I don't know what happened with that. They couldn't get that, but yeah, you see him explain that. cs2 back or that paperwork Drew Sims was them was talking about something. I don't know if you seen that part, but yeah, just rewind this and go back. You'll see about that. And then Greg Katie was just talking about the Tupac murder and Keefe D. You heard that earlier, so just rewind it back. But yeah, Keefe D confessed. He wrote a book about his cousin. I mean, not his cousin, his little nephew. How he's in a car with 2 other people and his nephew in a white Cadillac. How they pulled up on Suge and Tupac. And Suge got hit in the head. And then he made a proffer with Greg. Keefe D made a proffer with Greg Katie. He confessed. Yeah, man, it's a whole lot of stuff. Just you rewind it if you ain't seen it, but yeah, that's basically the gist of it. So yeah, he confessed. Now he in jail in Vegas. He got raided after all these interviews, after all this time, I guess. And Wack wanted supposed to bail for him. And confess to that.